Okay, welcome back to part three of access point mapping in BatNote. For those who've been following along, obviously what we've covered so far is in part one, we've added survey images and added our access points to those images. And then in part two, we've logged bat observations with an activity as an emergence and also an observation which is not tied to an access point. And now what we're going to do in this section is look at the generated report that BatNote produces once we've completed a survey. So let's get to part three. And just a kind of brief reminder, this is where we are at the moment. So we've done the access points and the observations linking, and now we're going to move on to the generating of the report and seeing how our evidence is presented. Okay, so back to the simulator. So we finished our survey, and we can see here, obviously it's got my, the surveyor's name, the location, site name, and date and time, the observations, and all the weather details have been submitted. So everything's there. If I click done, now we can see that we've been routed back to the home screen, and here is our survey card, which contains all of our data, all our images, all our observations, everything. Now we can preview the report. So on the top right corner, we have this little ellipsis kind of context menu. So with there, you can export the report or you can preview the report. So obviously for our case, we want to probably preview the report. So when I click preview, that will generate the report and capture everything that we've done. Just going to remove the watermarking. So actually, let me just export that report because that'll remove the watermarking. Now if I preview again, there we go. So so the report is structured in, I guess there's 5 areas to it. So first one being the summary. So that will just have key survey details, like the equipment that we used, the survey timing, so the start and end time, the date, and then we'll have our weather conditions that were recorded for the start of the survey and also at the end of the survey. And like I said, that's automatically fetched for you. Point 3, probably one of the big ones, it would be the site context itself. So that will include the location map that was generated for us on screen 2, and the site imagery as well. And then point 4 will be the survey findings. So that's actually going to be our observations that we marked when we were doing the bat survey. And then point 5 will be our access point evidence. So all the links, observations to our access points that have been marked up will be on that page as well. So I'm going to kind of scroll through the report. So what we have at the moment, we can see we have our site name with the address details. That records the GPS location. So we've got the longitude and latitude coordinates there, the grid reference, our name, like I said, the end, the start time, all useful stuff for the survey summary. Here, again, we can see now we have the start of the survey and the end of the survey, and that's recording all the weather conditions that we need for our report. Section 3, so this is actually the screenshot of the site location. So this is the aerial imagery that it's done a screenshot for. And again, that just references the longitude and latitude of where we did our survey. And now we have the survey images themselves. So these, for part 3 of the report, the site context, the images used will not include the markups. So that will come in section 5 of the report. So all we can see is just the images that we captured and that we used for this survey. And they have a figure reference just to kind of help the structure a little bit. So we've got figure 8.1, figure 8.2, and then figure 8.3. Now section 4. Okay, so this is our observation table. So in there includes all the observations that we logged for that survey. And that would include, like I said, the time of when it was logged, the species we recorded, the frequency if we did record that as well, along with the activity, and then any notes that we added as well. So we can see that we had 3 observations that we did for this survey. notes being bat emerged from image 2 and point 2. So they were the notes that I made. And yeah, this is just the observation table generated from our evidence that we captured. Now, if I scroll down, now this is the access point evidence information. So this will record any access points that we marked on any images, and then below will be the observation table where any observations that were linked to this image would be displayed as well. So we knew that for the primary image, although I ended up marking an access point, I didn't link any observations to that access point. I didn't see any bats emerge or come from that window, so nothing would be recorded. However, for the next image, again being figure B.2, which is a markup of figure A.2, so we just quickly go back to figure A.2. That's that image there, and that's the marked up version with the access points there. We did mark an observation that linked to an access point being access point 2, and then there you can see the observation table, which shows the observation and the linked point and what the roost feature was for that observation. And then that's the same story for our other image where we did another observation and we linked that to the Eve gap being 0.1. And again, this is figure B for figure A.3. So if I go to the A3, that's that image there. And then the final image is here. Yeah. So, and I like to call them any kind of hits we had with bats emerging to and from those access points will be highlighted in green on the report. So it's nice and clear to yourselves and to whoever you share it with that this is where the bats emerged from. And that is the crux of the report. That's what you'll get. Like I said, all the evidence has been collated for you. So you don't need to do any kind of manual input here. It's all generated based on the evidence that we captured during that survey. So yeah, that's part 3. Now, what we'll cover in the final part will be we've completed the survey, we have our reports, and then what we want to do is actually edit the completed survey. That's what we'll cover in part 4. I've just realized that I haven't captured what I also wanted to quickly explain is so once you're happy with the report, you can click on the context menu, the ellipsis option, and then you can click export report. And what that'll do is that will export the report in a PDF format. And because I'm on a simulator, you won't be able to see half of the options that you will see when you click export, but you can send via email, WhatsApp, Facebook groups, anything you can imagine, really. You can export it to that platform. So that can be, in my limited case, I'm just going to save it to my files on the device. So let's save that there. Now if I go to files, so we can see that I've got my new report now, which is this one. And this is the PDF version of the report. And yeah, it's quick as that. And then I can now send that to whoever of interest whenever I need to. And has all of my evidence all structured at the end of the survey. So yeah, thank you for watching part 3. I will now move on to part 4, where we will capture editing access points on the completed survey.